And surely the vast amount of critical minerals in the Arctic is another big draw for Donald Trump. We know that's partly what he's after.
Yes, very much so. And Greenland has significant oil and gas reserves, which have predominantly been underdeveloped, mostly because they're under the ice at the moment. And the costs of developing that and the environmental costs would be very significant. But as the ice becomes thinner and those minerals become more accessible, oil and gas reserves in and around Greenland are going to become much more valuable. But of course, we also definitely know that Greenland has significant rare earth minerals. So the minerals dimension is another one that's somewhat understated, but is well known as being a key feature to Greenland's independence as a sovereign state, but also the interest of the United States, probably also Russia and China too.
Polling has said that a large portion of people in Greenland don't want to be part of Trump's America, but it sounds like they do want independence from the Danes. So is there a chance of Donald Trump, convincing Greenland here?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point that the Greenlanders are fiercely independent and are very much seeking to fast track their moves towards autonomy and becoming an independent state. There's even some prospect that they could unilaterally declare independence, in other words, seek to proclaim themselves as an independent state, irrespective of some of these processes. But a truly independent Greenland at the moment would be quite vulnerable to not only the United States, but also to Russia and China. So any sort of fast-tracked unilateral declaration of independence by Greenland would create a whole series of defence, foreign affairs and security issues that a fledgling Greenlandic government really wouldn't want to face at this point in time. So I'm sure that they would be much keener on a more transitioned phase to achieving a greater level of autonomy through an act of self-determination.
And just before we let you go, what are the implications for the Australia-US alliance if Donald Trump pursues some kind of action here in Greenland?
Look, I think they're really quite significant. I think if one can see a more regular diplomatic or political process play out, Australia will be accepting of that. But any significant military action by the United States with respect to Greenland could really represent a red line, I think, for Australia, because not only would that be a clear red line for Australia's European partners and for the NATO countries, I think Australia would be saying, sorry, that is really too far. Any unilateral use of force against Indigenous peoples in a peaceful country is really not acceptable.
And we heard the Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, saying this morning that this is a matter for the Danish government. Donald Rothwell, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.